Richard Del Connor is the philosopher poet of the hippie generation.
Papa drives the truck.
Hello. Richard Del Connor here, philosopher poet. This is the Richard Del Connor Philosopher Poet podcast. And when I was performing these live before the pandemic, I would do a poetry reading and then I'd play flute. And those were my Richard Del Connor Philosopher Poet shows. But I decided I'm not going to be playing flute for the next 26 podcasts. These next 26 podcasts are going to be dedicated to my first album that I'm releasing under my real name, Richard Del Connor, D-E-L, 1L. So the deal is that I've got all kinds of other names, American Zen, Buddha Jen, Buddha Z, the Hippy Coyote. I've been recording under a lot of other names and bands. But right now, after, like I said, I've kind of like had life-changing experiences in the last few years. So after surviving cancer and hip replacement surgeries, I'm a new boy. I'm a new boy, and that's why this album, Oboy, really represents me. 71 years old, and I feel like I'm only 20. Really not, I don't really have a passion for drinking, so I don't have to be legal. 20 is good enough. I'm 20 years old now. In fact, when I was 20 years old, I was the head producer and staff recording engineer at Bonita Studio, and that was really fun. So, but since I've been 20 years old, I've been doing what I'm doing now. So I'm still doing it today. I actually died in 1974. My mom revived me. Artificial respiration. Whole another story, but let's get, in fact, that's what, after my cancer and doctor giving me, he said, you got 3 months to 3 years to live. 3 months if it gets into your liver, because, and he said 3 years if it just, anyway, but we ended up it's been more than 3 years since my chemo. So I want to think I'm cancer free. Well, I've got the proof. I guess I'm cancer free. So anyway, the point being is, and we can talk about cancer and all kinds of stuff about that another time, maybe not in any of these podcasts, but I've got a great song called The Chemotherapy Blues. Great song, but it's in the concert movie I did, that 2-hour concert movie. It's called Kung Fu Cowboy at Club Coyote. But that's why I'm not really being Kung Fu Cowboy, and I'm not wearing my cowboy hat, because I'm Richard Del Connor, the record producer, the singer, the songwriter, the guitarist, the guy who was Richard Del Connor before he became Kung Fu Cowboy. So this is me, the whole me, and then, I've got my characters or segments of me. That's really what they are. There's segments, Buddha Jen is this part of me. Kung Fu Cowboy is this part of me, and, I've just got a few identities I can break myself up into. It's real simple. Anyway, the point being is we are now releasing my album, Oh Boy. It's done. It's done. In fact, it's more than done. This is, it's nice being amazing. I'm an amazing person. I do amazing things. And I did something really amazing. I decided I wanted to make lyric videos, for some of the songs, because they're live concert songs. This album is 11 concert songs recorded live with a cassette player, and then 6 studio songs I recorded right here in this room, playing those drums. And can you see them? I got a couple guitars back there. I got my 1959 or 57. They argue about it. Well, look at the serial numbers. But anyway, it was a custom-made model in the late 1950s, and avocado green. And I replaced the pit guard with that smoke mirrored plexiglass. I think it's just awesome. I'm the only person in the world I think has ever done that. I did it like 50 years ago. Nobody cared. Or 40 years ago. Anyway, and then my PRS McCarty 594. It looks beautiful. It sounds great. Plays like junk. I was looking for a new guitar to be a teenager with and kind of start my guitar journey again. And I was hoping that would be the guitar, but I've had it for 2 years, and I don't have a relationship. It's like a girl. You can't. You're not going to have a relationship with every girl you meet. It's just not possible. Anyway, me and that guitar, we do some cool, it sounds great. I mean, it really does. For recording, I'm really looking forward to playing rhythm tracks with it. For that, it sounds great. And that's why I got it, because it sounds different than my Stratocaster. My Stratocaster cannot get that sound. So that's what I was looking for, and I got the sound. So I just didn't get the relationship I wanted. So I got a new guitar, and I only got it in the last month, and I'm starting my brand new. I'm going to be Kung Fu Cowboy, re-emerging. It's actually called Second Resurrection, Scorpion Resurrection is the name of this album by Kung Fu Cowboy. It'll be the first album actually released under the Kung Fu Cowboy name. You've seen me doing all kinds of stuff in videos and performances and all kinds of martial arts things in Chinatown and stuff like that as the Kung Fu Cowboy. But I've actually not had a Kung Fu Cowboy album. Now, some of the songs are the singles are actually out. You can go to wherever you get your music from, iTunes or whatever, Spotify, and you can find the Kung Fu Cowboy music. So it is there. But the album has not been released. So the really cool thing is I'm waiting to kind of work on the singles and hear them and get a chance, because I've actually just got new speakers. Shaolin Records here has just really taken off. I'm really excited. That's why these podcasts are kind of, to me, a little bit exciting. So I'm breaking in brand new gear, which I'll show you. And I got some more gear coming. But anyway, I'll show you what I got, because I've really upgraded. These are the best speakers I've maybe ever had. I mean, I've got some great speakers, big, huge Servant Vegas and 18-inch speakers. I got great stuff, but in terms of, well, we'll talk about that later. So anyway, I got some great stuff there. I got a great studio mixer over here. So anyway, I haven't got some good stuff, but we'll talk about all that later, because I am the record producer, so I want to share all my techniques and stuff with you. So hopefully if you want to follow me along, eventually I'll actually teach you a lot about record production, podcast production, and movie production. Okay, so let's get back to what I got to tell you today. This is so exciting. Okay, so I record this album. I package it all together, 11 live songs and 6 studio songs. Songs I just wrote in the last year that was like, I couldn't help but do them. And then it was like, well, let's put them in there. I just stuck them in with this album. The old album was actually called Purgatory. I was calling that album Purgatory, and a whole bunch of reasons for that. All these live concert songs were recorded in the 1980s. So there's stories behind anyway, yeah. We'll get to that later. So I'm going to actually podcasts are going to go song by song. So I'll tell you the stories behind the songs and how they kind of like represent pieces of my life, which is kind of cool. And hopefully when you hear the song, they'll actually be more ethereal. I don't know. Fun to listen to. But anyway, like I was saying, I did something fantastic besides bumping the table, which hopefully you didn't hear. What I did was I made 17 music videos. Okay, cool. You should make a few for every album. Anyway, I actually made all the REO Speedwagon videos in the mid-'80s. So making music videos is something I'm actually very experienced at least in the high money realm. Doing them down on the down low was new to me, because I had to do everything myself. And so this music movie that I just made of 17 songs, which is actually 17 individual music videos, and then I crammed them all together. In fact, rather than making it into one big long stretch and make it hard for you to find your way around, I thought, well, I'll make it easy again. Hopefully you'll still listen to the whole album. But I gave you all 17 of the music videos with numbers on the beginning, so they're all in order. And then you just throw them into your music application with the album, and that'll keep them packaged together, but you'll be able to find the song. I know, I'm hoping that that's going to work really good for you. So you've got each music video individually packaged in a zip file when you buy it from me. And I might be the only source for it. You got to go to shaolinrecords.com and get the Oboy music movie. Now you can get the album. Just get the album, which I have not released yet, though, because I'm actually still going to master it and fine-tune the songs, which is kind of nice to be able to kind of demo the songs. And but anyway, so yeah, the album's coming soon, and you got the music movie. Isn't that totally awesome? Anyway, first time I've ever done anything like that. What am I doing? I've got this, because this is kind of the first of the series, not studying all these podcast things and making a list. And in fact, I've got this whole notebook here and these checklists I make. There's like 8 pages per podcast. And I make all these notes on it. Anyway, I'll only do this once, because it's on all my blank sheets for each podcast, but I'm not going to read it every podcast. I'm just going to maybe do it one time. I want to tell you about me. Me. All right, me. Richard Del Connor. I'm the host of this podcast. Hello there. And I'm a record producer. I'm a bassist, vocalist, performer. Oops, I just bumped the microphone. Sorry. And I'm a bassist, vocalist, performer. I'm a guitarist, vocalist, performer. And I'm a singer in the studio, and I'm the video editor. Okay, well, this is just okay, these are things I'm definitely doing every day right now. So yeah, in terms of being a record producer, I've got about, I don't know, 30 to 50 albums I've actually produced. And then as a bassist, vocalist, performer. That was a period of my life. And it's a really long story to tell you, because I was hired when I was 16 years old to perform in a band when I was exiled in Newfoundland. And I played with that band, Lukey's Boat, for a while. So actually the beginning of my bass career. But I'm not really proud of that. That was a tough time. And I want to tell that story because it was a tough time. And then the second time was later in the late 70s, mid-70s, early 70s, well, mid-70s, we're going to say. And that's when I lost my bass player. In fact, he stole a couple of things too, I think. No big deal. It's the thought that counts. So a little resentment there, but he disappeared. I never saw him again. And so we couldn't find a bass player. And so I actually cashed in my Gibson 335 with a Bigsby tailplate. I'd customized it really nice, but I did have problems. We'll talk about that guitar another time. But anyway, I cashed it in. I got that bass you can see back there. Where are you? You see it now? I can see myself in my camera over here. There's my Ricky bass over there. So I traded it in for that in like 74, 73, 74. And so I've had that bass since then. So let's see, where was I? So that's when but being a bassist vocalist, I've done it many, many times in my life and fronted the bands like the Police. When the Police weren't signed yet, we performed the same place in Madame Wong's in Chinatown, same time they did. I don't think I was on the same night as them. I'm pretty sure I was not, but I went and saw them there, and then I performed there maybe in the same week, a couple of days apart. But anyway, so where was I? But that was when I was a bassist singer, okay? Because it was just too hard to find a good bassist. I mean, the bass is easier to play than the guitar in some ways, but the bass requires a different kind of, it's hard to find somebody who can play my bass lines, because my bass lines are very melodic and sometimes rhythmic. They're all over the place. I write for the song. My guitar is the same thing. You can't say I've got a style of guitar playing, because I just play whatever I need for the song. But anyway, where was I? Okay, so I'm all those things. Oh, I'm a singer in the studio, a singer. I'm really a singer. I don't get much credit for that, but I'm a great singer. I had the same vocal coach or instructor as Michael Jackson and all kinds of people from the late 70s and early 80s. Seth. Yeah. But anyway, that's a whole thing to talk about then. Okay, so bring it back, all kinds of ideas. But let me go a little quicker here. I'm also the video editor, which is brand new. You see, now this is the first thing I did. When you get this Oboy music movie, get the album too, so you got the songs, separate, but get the album and get the music movie both. I'm going to make them cheap. They'll be cheaper than if you bought somebody else's, probably, by a few bucks probably. And I don't know if I'll keep raising my rate, so 100 years from now, it might be the same price. But anyway, get the... in fact, I think that when I made it, I probably could have done it all in one piece. I think that because this thing is so big, I couldn't upload it all in one big group of things. So I grouped them into 2 batches of songs. But then I found out later there is a way I could probably put them all up there in one group. I just have to go around to the back end of the server, to load it into the payloads and PayPal so that they can keep it secure. Anyway, where was I? So, I'm the video editor, and this is the first time, so this is a really big thing for me. And so you're going to notice them kind of change and evolve, and I got a couple that I'm really proud of. I spent some time on. No Hope and Surrender is that's my favorite music video that I've ever made right now. For me, that's kind of like my crowning achievement. So now I got to do better than that. So I like that. Wait till you see it. I'm excited. And we'll have it in the podcast. I'm gonna play all these things, so you'll get them at the end of each podcast. Okay, so what do I tell you about me? I'm the founder of Shaolin Records and Shaolin Music Publishing in 1984. I should be a zillionaire, but without money, making a record company being a poor person is not a good strategy. I've proven that. Okay, now, in terms of me being a Kung Fu cowboy, I am really a Kung Fu master. I am a Shaolin master. I'm certified by Wong Jack Man, Sifu Wong Jack Man in San Francisco, the guy that fought Bruce Lee, who you see in all those movies back in 1964. But he's that's why Bruce Lee never fought anybody again, man. He kicked his ass, and he's a formidable dude. He was great. But anyway, he certified me. I'm Northern Shaolin. I come from the line of Kung Fu from the monastery, from the Shaolin Temple. Okay, where was I? My movie star image. Mozart and Beethoven. I was trying to think of it, We used to say John Lennon and the guy in the Kinks, Ray Davies, is it? So we used to have some people that I kind of related to, but they're so gone and they're not popular. So I don't know if you'd know those references anymore. But Mozart and Beethoven, that's kind of who I'm really like. And Mozart too, because I'm a Freemason and he was a Freemason. And he was the organist of the lodge and I was the organist of the lodge. So Mozart and I have something in common. And Beethoven, because I just, in terms of my music, I'm really influenced by Beethoven. A lot of my guitar, my heavy metal is really him. Beethoven. Seriously. Okay, anyway, then let's see. My favorite music groups are the Beatles, the Stones, the Doors, and Jimi Hendrix. And I played songs by all of those, and I love those guys, so I'm sure they've influenced me. And let's see, as an author, who are my influences? Because I've written all kinds of books. I'm going to be publishing 22 audiobooks real soon. I've recorded them, but now I got to do all the editing. You know, it takes like days to sit there and edit one of those. 22 of them, 2 months every day. I just like to say, I'll cross that bridge soon. But anyway, the point being is that in terms of an author, I like the early Tom Wolfe books, the early stuff. The later stuff just bores me to death, even though he's got all his awards from the later stuff, but it bores me to death. Sorry. But I love you, Tom Wolfe. Everything you did in the early 70s, I don't know how, that whole period in the late 60s, early 70s, you were awesome. You were awesome, Tom. Awesome. Anyway, and somebody else I like, is Hunter S. Thompson. Now he cusses all the time and he's a liar. So I don't cuss, so I don't have that in common. And I don't like to lie and cheat and cause trouble. So we have character-wise, we're opposite polarity. But his writing style and the way it's just so off the cuff and direct and short and abrasive sometimes. I relate to it. Okay, where were we? My role models. Well, I really was searching for the answers on these things. And Cary Grant is really still, I'm just stuck. I'm from the past. Sorry. There's nobody new. Like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, man. I'm sorry. He's not a character influence on me. But Cary Grant was. His style, his role in the movies, and he was actually a nice guy. Okay. And another role model, which you might not relate to, but this is because I was raising my kids for 15 years, is Samurai Jack. And Samurai Jack is really totally awesome. He's a hero. He's really cool. And so he's one of my heroes. Okay, and then Siddhartha Gautama, of course, the founder of all Buddhism, the first Buddha, the original Buddha. He's very inspiring to me. And then the next inspiration would be like the 18th patriarch, the 18th generation after him, which was Bodhidharma, the guy that went to the Shaolin Temple and created Shaolin Kung Fu and Zen Buddhism. He's the founder of both of those things. Bodhidharma, well, obviously I'm a disciple of him, whether you like it or not. I'm teaching and saying all this stuff and trying to be true to his traditions and heritage. Okay, but anyway, what else can I tell you about me? My business fame. My local legend at best. My business fame. Well, really, the things I'm really most famous for, and what I have, like even Steven Spielberg and people were raving about me, is Coyote in a Graveyard rock opera, 1984 and 1985. And the album, I just released a soundtrack, which was completed in 1989 because New World Pictures went out of the movie production, decided they were going to just stick to television, and mine was one of the movies projects that wasn't finished, so I got it back. But they made me rewrite the ending, which was kind of cool. I wouldn't have written the ending the way that I did if it wasn't for them making me do that. So they improved my movie slightly. Where was it? Masonic Kung Fu. I'm probably kind of famous for that because I was a Mason for 8-9 years. And so I wrote this book while I was a Mason, and I was hoping to teach Masonic Kung Fu and travel around the world to all these lodges, but you read the book, see what happened. And then, what else do I have? I know I got something here. Well, I got my Shaolin music with all kinds of copyrights, hundreds and hundreds of songs and books I've written. And then the Shaolin Records has all kinds of copyrights and things that I'm releasing now. And like these songs from the 1980s, I'm pulling up the reserves. Now I'm getting all my ammunition out there. It's like, what? It's not going to go. I don't want to take it to the grave with me. No, I want to share. Okay, so where was I? Shaolin Film, ShaolinFilm.com, ShaolinRecords.com, ShaolinMusic.com. ShaolinFilm.com is all my photography. I thought it was going to be closed off because I kind of stopped being a photographer in 2000 because 35 millimeter film went out and I was too poor to get a digital camera. So I just stopped being a photographer, even though I was a professional and a member of the newspaper guild and publishing in magazines and newspapers. But I gave up photography and for about 15, 20 years until I got my iPhone. Right there, I'm looking at it. This iPhone Pro Max 11, which has 4K. We're shooting 4K right now, which means I should probably stop this pretty soon because 4K is hard to get from my phone to my computer. Okay, so let me see. Where was I? I'll kind of piece this thing together. So if I can get a little farther along, I'll cut it and put some music. I don't know. I'm trying to create a whole new thing here. So this whole next 26 podcasts are going to be really awesome. Oh, and by the way, that the Kung Fu Cowboy spiritual rock opera metaverse. That's the actual legal name of it. It's the Kung Fu Cowboy spiritual rock opera metaverse. See, it totally makes sense, but it's a lot of stuff. So anyway, the whole idea here is I've divided my life up into 36 sections. I did. I'm looking at it on the wall here, and I've got all the sections and kind of what the projects were and things that happened. And so what you got to do is to get from one level to the other, you've got to at least buy one product. So I got 36 products you have to buy to get to the top. It might only be an NFT for $3, or something, because I got most of them really cheap so everybody can get one. I know I'm not going to make any money, so what do I care? I'm trying to make it so everybody can have fun. And then there's a few collector's items I did put in there for the people who want to feel special and pay a lot for some. So I do have some special items too. But I'm doing those more just to satisfy the people who want to be special. I'm trying to make most of those things for the poor people like me. But anyway, I'm looking at my 36 level metaverse. And number 36 is where I am right now. I'm pulling my whole life together, and I could be dead any day. And so 71 years old, although I'm not planning on being dead for at least 20 years. Now I got these hips replaced. I got mileage. But anyway, the point being is that all of these years, are basically in a Discord metaverse. So I don't know much about Discord. I don't even know if I've been there this year. But I have a Discord channel for the Kung Fu Cowboy metaverse. It's got a whole bunch of rules. You can't be a Republican. You can't get in there if you're a Republican, all kinds of things, because you'll get too pissed off and you'll have hate and I'll be trolling you. So you don't want to go in there. So I made some rules that you have to get into this metaverse. You can't be a Republican and you can't be an ex-girlfriend either or an ex-wife. You only got a few of those. So you can't be, so I don't want them going in there and trolling either. So in order to even get in there, you can't be an ex-wife and you can't be a Republican. I'm sure you wouldn't get very far anyway. You're not missing anything, because you're not going to make it. So in order to get from level to level, that's spiritual. And there's no way you can get through that and be a Republican. You could never be a Republican at the 36th level. There's just no way. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. But anyway, so just don't even try. So where were we? Okay. Oh yeah. So the metaverse, it's totally cool. And I've got to figure it out. And hopefully we'll get some people in there who can make it happen and build it and keep it going after I'm dead, because that's really what I'm trying to do now is I'm looking at, for the first time in my life, the last few years, I'm looking at my death. Kind of like I'm a spirit now looking down. Like, what did I leave behind? Well, I left that and that and that and that. So anyway, I'm trying to leave some stuff behind and make it so it doesn't just vanish and disappear and get deleted by Google or something. All right, where were we? Okay, so I got all kinds of stations, websites, and might have bumped the microphone again. Sorry. What else do I do? I got a little list of things to do here. Oh, real quickly. Oh, gosh, how long has it been? Okay, 23 minutes. Maybe, I don't know how long these podcasts are going to be. But I did have some things I got to say real quick. So let me look at my little list right here. I made an outline. A quick overview of the Oboy songs and podcast episodes. Well, that's going to, I'll see how fast I can do that. Oh, I don't have that picture on my, oh yeah, I can do this. Hold on. I had to disconnect all my hard drives because they were clunk, 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 clunking away. So there's no hard drives right now. All of them, every one of them. I got half a dozen up here, and they're all clunking away. We'll change the camera angle. You'll see them later. But anyway, where was I? Anyway, I'm trying to open this thing on my desktop. I don't know why. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and if I can enlarge this, I'll have the album cover. Let me see. A little distorted. Okay, so anyway, what we have here is we've got a whole bunch of songs. And I'm going to just tell you real quick what they are real quick. And hopefully this will be exciting. 17 songs. The first one is the song you're going to get today at the end of this podcast. Oh boy. O-B-O-Y. One word. And then that's about my childhood. Oh, and by the way, when I speak of hosing those kids, it's because when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I'd be watering the lawn. I was always out there trying to do housework and follow my mom around. And evidently a couple of times I just was very belligerent or whatever. I don't know what the heck. And I sprayed the kids with a hose. And I only vaguely remember it. And it was malicious. Punkish might be a little more, but anyway, yeah, they'll punk at me. So that was me being a punk at 4 and 5 years old. And then I run in the house and the kids would be all pissed off, run out the front door. Hey, your kid just hosed me. And my mom, and it's like, no, sorry. But anyway, I knew right from wrong. I just, once in a while, it's kind of nice to jump over the fence, I guess. So anyway, the next song, My Child, is actually another, let's see, the first 5 are all concert songs. My Child was written to my fiance I lived with, who divorced me just a few days before our wedding. Left me on the altar. Long story there. Good stories. I've got some really pretty pictures of her over there. Hello, Rita. But yeah, that's her over there on my wall. And then Scaredy Cat, the next one. I honestly am not sure because there are several girls I could have written this to, and I'm not sure which one it was or what inspired this, if it was one of my stories or my movies or my rock operas. But it's a really fun song to sing and play. And my goal is to have a girl sing this. In other words, it's not me as a man seducing a girl. I want a girl to seduce me or seduce a man. And I think that would make it more fun and funny. Okay, now, where were you? And then It's Your Shadow was written to another very sincere love of mine. One of those ones that she broke up with me, and for the wrong reasons. So it's like we never really broke up, and we never had a bad relationship. It was always wonderful. But she had some problems, and so she broke it off. And It's Your Shadow is about her breaking it off because of agoraphobia is what she had. And so I was a lot to learn, and I wrote a whole the Coyote in the Graveyard rock opera that I'm famous for. It was actually inspired by her. I had this really strong love for her, and then she kind of threw me out or broke up with me, and I was just like lonely and wrote this song. Anyway, here we go. I was actually in an apartment across from the graveyard of the Veteran Cemetery in West LA, and so I could see the Veteran Cemetery, and I had the apartment for free, so I was working by candlelight and cold showers, and because I knew the apartment manager. And so anyway, that's talk about that. So anyway, It's Your Shadow was from then. Oh, Michelle is written to my ex-wife, and it's very nasty. And you know what's fun? I only came to realize I should have been embarrassed. I thought I was going to embarrass her with those lyrics, but I should have been embarrassed singing those. So yeah, I was just a little too raunchy in my younger days. Needed more of a mentor. Needed to hang out with some older people. I was a little too raunchy. Okay, anyway, next one is one I just recorded very recently. Life You'll Lose. These were all recorded in the last year. And No Hope in Surrender. That's the one with the great music video. I'm so excited to share that with you. And then back to a concert one, Leaves to the Wind, which is the leaves are all my pages and poems and stuff, and kind of feeling helpless. That was back in the late 70s. I was already starting to feel helpless. I think, how do I, make something happen? Never did. At least not to the levels I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Okay, where were we? Liberty. Here's another one I did in here. It's a pack of wolves song, but it's kind of cool. And it ends up really nice. I don't know if any of the actual Republicans, if they ever heard it, would even understand it, to be honest with you. It's a really kind of above their heads. If they totally get it, they will probably be embarrassed to be a Republican if they really understand this song. But it's kind of meant to appeal to them. So I kind of because I got that punk nature, I appealed to them and went, rah, 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 rah. But then at the same time, I spoke a little wisdom and common sense, which is, of course, why we have so many problems in our country. We lack wisdom and common sense. Okay, anyway, next one is Pieces of the Sky, which was written to a girl. A neat story about that. I'll tell you the story when we get to that podcast. But yeah, we slept all night together, but we didn't have sex. And I wrote this as the sun was rising. But yeah, that's cool. I'll always remember that. But anyway, at Crossroads of Life. Got to explain that one later, but it's a really cool. Okay. Go Blame It on Somebody Else. Live concert. And this was just fun. And girls liked it, even though it's like really condescending. Girls liked it. It's not misogynistic, but it's just saying, don't hit me with your purse. It's not my fault it's empty. That's the chorus. But anyway, Out of My Mind. Oh, very romantic. Really fun song to play. I just love this song. There's a couple different versions of it. And this is live in concert. After the rock opera, a later version, not the original rock opera live. Don't have any good recordings of the live rock opera concert, I don't think. I'm really ashamed. Just a studio. There's one studio album. Okay, now, No, It Wasn't a Dream. I finished recording this last year, but the actual acoustic guitar and vocal were recorded within 1 hour of the last time I ever saw one of my ex-wives. She left. I didn't know I would never see her again, and we had sex all day and had a really good time. And then I walked her to her car, came back to my house, wrote this song, and sang it, and this is it. I couldn't change anything or add to it or do it better. It had the vibe and the love and the sincerity. And I didn't know that was the last time I was going to see her. I really didn't. No, It Wasn't a Dream. And then the next two songs are live. I Can't Take No More, which I love. I love this song. Maybe nobody else does, but this is me screaming out about, stop making life unhappy. Really, that's what it is. And then We're Not Working Out was Dorita up there, and that's a long story with, things like lesbian interference and cocaine. Lose my voice on that one. Not sure why, but let's get through this real quick. Got to strengthen my voice for these podcasts. 30 minutes. I want to get out of here. Anyway, Oboy song is a level 1. So this song, if you were to buy any part of an NFT or something, that'll get you, into the metaverse. Where were we? No, I know you don't care. I'm hoping someday after I'm dead, they're going to take it. They're going to see it. And I laid out the requirements for it and stuff. So it's really cool. In fact, you'll have to even pass belt tests. My Tai Chi youth program, I stretched that out. And it's a 4-year program, and it's got 3 belt tests a year. And so when we're talking about 12, there's 12 levels right there of the 36 in which you're going to be basically getting smarter and formidable. Okay, where were we? And then last song is Temptation. It's the original mix. In fact, it's a crappy version of it. I got to get a lot of my masters, out of my locker and get them transferred to digital. I got big 2-inch tapes and all kinds of stuff, and these masters on 1/2 inch, 30 IPS and stuff. It's like, or 1/4 inch, 30 IPS. But anyway, where were we? Okay, so real quickly, John Merritt enjoyed performing this song. There's some songs that he just loved them, and they just made his day. And accordingly, he made everybody else's day. Once he got into a song and he got his enthusiasm, whammo, it was like magic. The whole place would just start dancing. And turn a whole nightclub into a dancing place where a lot of people just usually sit down and drink, but you just fill up the dance floor and, and it just, that's a really nice feeling. Have just a great rockin' song that people get up and dance to. Okay, anyway, let's see, where are we going to go? That's it. Okay, thanks for supporting me, Richard Del Connor, my legal name. That's my artist name. I am Richard Del Connor. The artist, Richard Del Connor, and supporting my record company, Shaolin Records. So go to shaolinrecords.com. I can't guarantee you that everybody else, Amazon and stuff, Spotify is going to have all my music and videos and stuff. So go to my website, shaolinrecords.com, and then I can divert you to those places, and even Amazon and iTunes. I usually have links to my albums on there too. But anyway, go to shaolinrecords.com, and I've been remiss in keeping it up for the last dozen years at least. So I'm looking at these podcasts as a way to help me update them and make them really work too. So thanks, and enjoy the next song. The next song is Oh Boy. Now, was there something I was going to say? I got notes and more things that I could tell you. Anyway, just get the Oh Boy music movie of 17 songs by Richard Del Connor. That's me. Oh Boy music movie. That's the name of it. The Oh Boy music movie and the Oh Boy album. And then there's Shaolin Records, my company, Shaolin Records. That's where Buddha rocks. We be rocking. And then this is the podcast. Yes, let's fire off final farewell before the song. Richard Del Connor, philosopher poet, signing off.